This YouTube channel emailed me saying they couldn't generate sales even though they had a lot of views. And I realized why. So in this video, I am going to rebuild their content strategy and sales page to show you the only thing they need to change to turn more viewers into buyers. And I've used this exact strategy to generate 8 figures from YouTube. So let me show you how it works using this channel as an example. So this channel, they're in the detailing niche. They've got a course on the same topic. And they told me that their sales are tough because viewers would rather spend money on cleaning products than pay for information. The thing is, that's not why their sales are low. The fact that people are happy to spend money on products tells us they are willing to spend money on solving this problem. So the money's there. All we need to do is convince viewers they're spending it on the wrong solution. And to understand how you do that, I want you to imagine that you are this channel's perfect viewer. Your car looks really faded and dull, so you do what everyone else does and you go on Amazon and you search car detailing and you are hit with hundreds of products and sprays and waxes and all these kind of promises of a showroom finish. So you buy one and you use the product and your car looks all right, but no way near the level you expected. So you don't question whether or not products in general were the answer. You just go and buy a different one because you believe the solution is products. Now, imagine that person lands on this course's page and it promises this, a better looking car. Now, if the viewer believes products are the solution to the problem, well, this doesn't feel like a solution, does it? It feels like an expensive extra. So that is the real reason why this business is not making as many sales as they could. And to fix it, they just need to make it very clear in their content and marketing that the real solution isn't products, but what they sell instead. And in order to do that, you need to make the solution your viewers currently believe in the enemy. And the biggest names in marketing all do this. So Simon Squid, he made the education system his enemy. He tells people university isn't what makes you successful, building a personal brand is. And then his book shows you how to do that. Andrew Tate, he came up with the Matrix and he made that his enemy. And then his content convinced people that the system was the thing holding them back and his product became the solution to it. But how do you work out your enemy and then build it into your videos and your marketing so people actually want what you're selling? Well, first, you've got to work out what your viewer believes is their solution. So to do that, you just want to fill out this chart. So in the first box, you want to write down what your viewers currently believe is the solution to their problem. For this channel, they believe better products create better results. Then you want to ask yourself, is this actually true? So in this case, yes, we believe that technique creates results. The product just helps. And now what we can do is we can work out the enemy, which in this case is the detailing industry, spending millions convincing people the next polish, coating, or wax is the answer. So that becomes our enemy. And then what you do is you write down your solution to the enemy that actually works. So for this channel is learning the right techniques using a handful of cheap products, which funnily enough is what his course teaches. Now, the second step of this is making videos that attack your enemy. Because if your content never challenges what people currently believe to be true, why would they ever buy a different solution? So I've come up with a couple of example videos for this channel to show you how to bring your enemy into your content. Now, the first one I have called $2,000 detail versus $1,000 detail. And my idea would be he gives someone a load of expensive products to detail one car, and then he takes another car and just uses his technique and cheap stuff. And at the end, they ask a stranger which one's better. And hopefully he wins. And if he does, the viewer is going to realize, wait, I don't need to spend money on expensive products. The second video I'd make is this. You buy neglected cars, you restore them using cheap products and the same technique, and then you show the transformation from before and after at the end, and then you sell the car. If you can profit on the car by the end of the video, the viewer has seen that technique doesn't just create an amazing finish, it'll actually increase the value of your car. So when they land on the sales page, the course doesn't feel like an extra expense anymore. It feels like the thing they've been missing, and it could even make them some cash. So for your own channel, what you need to do is think about how can I show people that my solution can outperform the one that they think is the solution or they have been using. And you can do this with different styles of content. So you could do it with a case study. So here's an example of that in action. Now, my enemy is complex marketing. I believe that really you just need a YouTube channel and an email and a great offer and you can make millions. So in this video, I showed how Greg went from $0 to $20,000 using my simple strategy that is so much simpler than the other things people teach. You can also make systems videos. So in this video, I simply shared how I doubled my business using my own simple system and software. So it doesn't have to be a very big story like the examples I gave. You just need to show people why your way is different and works. Then, once your content is attacking your enemy, in the next step, you need to make sure you convert viewers to buyers, attacking your enemy again on the sales page. So let me show you how I rebuilt our example page. But first, just going to point out the problems with their original page and why it's not converting. So the biggest problem is nowhere on here does he tell the viewer that products aren't the solution. And there's plenty about getting a shiny car, but there's nothing that makes someone stop and think it could be better than products. So they land on the page still believing that products are the answer, which means this course just doesn't stand a chance. Now, the second problem here, it's not enemy related, but I have to pull it out and talk about it because so many people make this mistake, and it's that he's put his price right at the top of the page. You see that? What that means is no one has a chance to hit play on the video, read the page, and understand why this is so valuable. All they see is a price. So when you haven't built value up in an offer, any price will feel expensive. And then there's this. Again, it's not enemy related, but another huge mistake I can't ignore. He has a crossed out price with no explanation as to why it's crossed out or no deadline. It just feels completely fake. So here I have rebuilt his page. And we'll start with the headline. So the headline's job is not to explain absolutely everything. It's simply to make someone stop scrolling, to hook them, and to set up there's a reason that maybe they should keep reading. So I've come up with a few ideas pretty quickly. How I made a 27-year-old car look new for less than $20. How I made a 27-year-old car look almost new in a day. How to make your car look brand new again without a respray. Now, none of these actually mention the enemy directly, and that's fine. We don't have to have it in every single thing we do. But I think combined with a strong before and after image, anyone who wants their car looking new again is going to stop and pay attention because they're going to want to know, how did he get that car looking so flipping good for $20, right? Then I've introduced the enemy in the sub-headline, where I've said, discover the paint restoration system that makes any car look new again without expensive products, resprays, or vinyl wraps. Now, imagine someone who's just watched the 2000 versus $10 detailing video. That line is going to make them go, that's the thing he used, and that's the thing I want. So without expensive products doesn't just sound like a nice bonus, it now reinforces what they believe. And then after that, I've removed the price and I've replaced it with a does this sound like you section. So before you ask someone to buy anything, you kind of want them thinking, yeah, that's the problem I have. And you do it with little bullet points, basically calling out their problems. So you can see I've written, have you tried to get your car looking new, but it still looks old? You're considering a respray, but hoping there's a cheaper way. You're fed up of spending hours polishing only to watch the shine disappear after a few days, and you're spending too much money on products that never seem to deliver what they promise. Next comes what's known as the epiphany story. So this is the moment where you realize that the problem wasn't what you originally thought, and you discovered the enemy, which then led you to the real solution. And you do it telling a story. So here's the story I wrote for this channel. I bet my neighbor I could make his car look new again for under $20. I won. One morning and a cheap bottle of polish, yet for years I'd wasted thousands chasing the latest products, convinced the next polish or ceramic coating would finally give me that showroom finish. And then I met this award-winning detailer. He told me he'd been using the same cheap polish for over 20 years, and he only focused on technique. He shared the technique with me. This same technique got my 27-year-old Mazda MX-5 looking like the image below in a single morning. It removed light scratches and swirl marks, and it brought the paint back to life. The truth is, the detailing industry wants you to believe every new product is better than the last because that's how they keep selling you more. But once you know this system, you'll be able to restore your own cars to new without wasting money on products that promise more than they deliver, or expensive resprays, or vinyl wraps that will reduce your car's value. And then after the story in the next session, I then position the offer as the solution to the enemy with the paint restoration system. The paint restoration system the detailing industry doesn't want you to know. Here's what you'll get inside. The only product you actually need. So look, I'm just going to leave that on screen. You can continue to read it, because otherwise I'm just going to be reading a web page for the entirety of this video. But my point is this. Hopefully you can see what is happening. Every section on your site is reinforcing the same idea that products aren't what create the results, technique does. So that by the time someone reaches the price, they don't see a $29 course, they see a way to stop wasting hundreds of dollars buying products that never solve the problem in the first place. They see a way to add value and a way to actually create a new car look. So $29 now kind of feels cheap. Now, you might have noticed the countdown timer on my new page. The problem is, most countdown timers, they're fake. You refresh the page and they start again. People know this. It kind of damages trust. The thing is, urgency creates quicker sales. So his attempt of urgency, which has no reason at all for a sale being on, is never going to work. But what I have built is this. It's an unfake urgency timer on his page. So what happens is, when someone clicks on the link, the timer starts and it says he'll get that discount, but only if you buy it in the next few hours. And when they keep coming back to the page, the countdown keeps ticking down. You can't skip it. It's real urgency. Now, I used this recently and I got 30% of people who clicked it to end up buying something. So I thought I'd show it to you. We've added it to RevTrack Pro. if you want to test this feature for yourself. Now, the thing is, this creator's problem was their lack of enemy, but sometimes your lack of enemy isn't the reason you can't generate sales. Sometimes you are just simply attracting the wrong people who are never going to buy in the first place. So watch this video next, and I'm going to show you how to work out if you are talking to the wrong audience and exactly how to fix it so you can turn views to sales faster.